In today's somatic liberation practice, we are going to be exploring confusion, how it shows up in our lives, where it lives in the body, and how to move through it into clarity. When we really start to strip away the layers underneath of the confusion, what we come to find is that it is actually deeply rooted in another belief system or unresolved emotions around a past experience. And so in today's practice, what we're going to be doing is exploring confusion, how it shows up, in what ways it shows up, why it shows up, so that we can really uncover the root cause and therefore gain more clarity around what is actually triggering this illusion of not knowing. So take a moment to settle into your space. We are going to be encouraging a lot of movement and a lot of expression through this practice. So standing up, getting really comfortable in your space right now, and preparing your body to go really deep. So close down your eyes, take a deep breath, maybe sigh out some stagnant energy, give your body a little bit of a shake. And allow yourself to arrive into this moment. We're going to start by inviting confusion to surface. And to do this, I want you to think about times in your life or even just moments throughout the day where you find that the clarity just isn't there and you're not too sure what your next steps are. If you can pinpoint one moment, maybe it's a couple of different moments, whatever you need to really dive in and explore confusion, allowing it to come up into the body to be expressed. And as you're exploring the sensations that start to arise, the fogginess, the unsureness, I want you to think about what it really is underneath of that. When it shows up in the body as these sensations, that's one thing. But what is the underlying cause of that fogginess, of that unsureness? Maybe it's self-doubt, wondering if you're making the right decision or questioning your own judgment. It can even feel like judgment, like you're judging yourself for not knowing or judging yourself for the decisions that you're making or for the things that you actually really want. It can even be feeling afraid to ask for what you want. Sometimes confusion appears because of insecurity. Those questions of like, will I be judged for wanting this? Will I be judged for making this decision? We can get into comparison, changing our minds because of what others are doing, people pleasing, excusing yourself from making a decision so that that responsibility is not on you and you're not having to decide for everybody. Maybe confusion stems from a time when choices were always made for you, leaving you uncertain about how to choose for yourself now in this present moment. Sometimes it can show up as inadequacy, a sense that what you know, want, or have to offer isn't enough. And with that, there's this not enoughness that can sink in. Maybe it's even around worthiness. Do you feel worthy to ask for what you want? Do you feel worthy to want what you want? So just take a moment and let these possibilities sink in. Notice what resonates for you. Notice how your body responds to these reflections. Maybe this has even opened up a door or a pathway to something that actually lands for you and your personal experience. And now I want you to really tune into where confusion resides within your body. We're just observing here, we're not making any changes, we're just allowing this energy to come into its full expression. So maybe you feel a pressure in your head, a fogginess, maybe it's a tightness in your chest or a sinking feeling in the stomach. Maybe you notice your throat starting to contract. Just notice these sensations. Does your heartbeat quicken? Does your breathing change? And as this expression, this energy fully comes on board, I want you to start noticing and paying attention to your posture. What is the shape that your body's taking on as you allow this energy to take up space? Do you shrink inward and close yourself off? Close your arms protectively? Maybe you want to get really small. Or maybe it's a big exaggerated movement. A big, I don't know, a big arms in the air. Maybe it's a shrug of the shoulders, a tilt of the head. Just noticing what wants to come through. Now that this energy has arrived, I want you to exaggerate everything, just that fraction more. So we're not pushing this confusion down, this state of not knowing, state of self-doubt. Instead, we're going to turn it up a notch. Allow it to come through, to take up space, to bring in some movement. Let your body take the lead. Move in whatever way feels natural, even if that movement is stillness, shutting down. But if it's a hunched over shoulders and the head dropping down, can you exaggerate that movement? Just bring the repetitions in just a couple of times. Or if it's a crossing of your arms and a pursing of your face, can you exaggerate that a little bit more? And as you do this, just noticing any stories that come up or memories that come up, as you start to recognize this pattern throughout your life. And now we're going to give confusion a voice, because there's often something that wants to be said, or it's been trying to say, but it hasn't been given the chance. So now we're going to let it speak. And if there isn't any words, we can just use sounds. It's a great way to start opening up the throat chakra and really moving that energy through. So maybe it's a hum, maybe it's a sigh, maybe it's a shriek, but maybe it has something that it actually wants to say. Could be something like, I don't know. Maybe it's something like, I'm afraid to be wrong. Maybe it's a declaration of, I'm afraid to ask for what I want. Or even a shout of frustration. But allow whatever needs to come to the surface to come through without judgment. Just play and explore. That's what we're doing. And just allow whatever wants to come through, even if it's the faintest whisper. Okay, you're doing amazing. Now we're going to shift it. So I want you to take a deep breath, give a big sigh, give your body a good shake your hands, arms, your legs, even your head. Imagine shaking off the remnants of confusion, creating space for something new. We're working with a blank canvas. And with this newfound space, let's call in clarity. Clarity is really this feeling of inspiration. Like when the idea lands or the vision just unfolds in a millisecond and it's like you can see it all. It's that knowing, the sureness of knowing exactly what to do next, where to go next, how things need to be, how you want things to be. But there's that moment of inspiration where it really lands in your system. And so I want you to think back to a time where you felt this inspiration just drop in. So when you find that moment, I want you to feel into how that feels in the body. And just noticing the subtle shifts that are taking place. Does your chest expand? Does your breathing deepen? Does your posture naturally straighten? Just notice how your heartbeat changes, your breathing, even the subtle expressions that come across the face, the eyes widening, the eyebrows raising. Noticing how you carry yourself in these inspired moments. Maybe there's more of a lightness to you. You could just dance along. And just bring in some movement in here so that you can allow this clarity to really land and to express itself and to anchor into every one of your cells. How do you carry yourself when you're feeling inspired, lit up by life? When you know the next step and the next step and the next step, and you can see it all so clearly. How does this expression of you take up space? Now as it lands in your body, I want you to repeat boldly and confidently. I know what I want. Can you repeat that one? Maybe if you want to bring your hand to your chest and just say so proudly, I know what I want. Or I know who I am. I know what I need. Just repeating these phrases. Or even if there's something that feels more aligned in this moment, express that. And notice how they resonate in your body. And maybe there's even resistance, but acknowledge that and stay with the energy of knowing. If there's resistance, it means that we've found an edge that we're playing with and we're rubbing up against something really profound here. So even if you feel like you don't really know, it's not about that right now. It's about drawing on all of those moments in your life where you have had that inspiration land. And by calling that in right now, we're inviting more of that into our lives. Maybe clarity has something else that it wants to say to you. Maybe there's something else that's wanting to come up underneath all of this. So if there is, allow that to come through, allow that to express. And to complete this practice, I want you to take a moment to journal, do a little bit of reflection on this experience. And what I want you to dig into is, what did confusion look like for you? Was it self-doubt? Was it comparison? Was it people-pleasing? Was it something else that came up? And how often and under what circumstances do you find yourself saying throughout your day, I don't know? We're going to begin to track its origins. Where might this pattern have started? What beliefs or experiences could be connected to it? This awareness is key to liberating this energy of confusion. And while it's okay to not know the answer to everything, I want you to become really aware of the words that you're using and what you are speaking into existence. Maybe the phrase, I don't know, came out of shrugging something off, not wanting to engage in something. And that's turned into a habit, which has created a pattern in the body. When, in truth, all of the information within the universe is held within every single one of your cells. And you have access to information that transcends eons. And can you find another way when you find yourself using I don't know as an expression? Can you find another way to articulate it so that you're not limiting your capacity to know? I would love for you to share your reflections in the comments below this practice, and if you feel called to explore another somatic practice around any of the other belief systems or experiences that came up after your journaling session, I do encourage you to do so. And if there's any that's not there that you would love to explore, put them in the comments and I will create a practice. As always, thank yourself for showing up to this practice. You are stepping into clarity, into knowing, into yourself, your full expression, and getting really, really good at asking for exactly what you do want and expressing exactly what you do want. Have a beautiful day.